Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I'm Junior Bonnici. Joined with me today is Tim Diacono. Our top stories of today are teachers' strike persists for second day after talks prove inconclusive. Chris Fern says mask advice will still apply after May. Donald Trump indefinitely blocked from Facebook and Instagram. Lawyers behind Malta Scala drive-thru says it won't ruin the environment. And our last story is a Maltese DJ calling out harsh bans on musicians after a superintendent is caught using cocaine. Tim, on to the first story.
Yeah, so after the absolute confusion and chaos yesterday, the teacher strike will continue. It has continued today after the Malta Union of Teachers and the government failed to reach a conclusion during talks yesterday. Now, just a reminder, the union is insisting that schools should go online until the end of the week because of a spike in COVID-19 cases. They're saying that they're basing their calls on advice they've heard the health authorities have imparted. However, both Lovin Daily, the Superintendent of Public Health, and the Health Minister Chris Fern are both saying this is not the case. In fact, Chris Fern was quite strong about this yesterday. He said that if anything, school should be the last thing to close down. If we need to introduce restrictions, not that we will, but if we do, then it won't be the closure of schools.
Yeah, no, there were some very funny scenes yesterday. Lovin Malta even carried a story where, students of the Aura primary school were just left stranded with no teachers around. It seems, though, that some independent schools have already started backtracking on moving to online and have reopened the schools. This morning, we'll sort of see how everything develops. Remaining on COVID-19, our next story is Health Minister Chris Fern confirming that the advice to wear face masks will continue till at least after May. He says by then, the situation will improve significantly, but essentially the goal is to have all vulnerable people vaccinated by May. Interestingly enough, Chris Fern said this will sort of mean that, we might return to a business as usual, attitude then. So this means, once all the vulnerable people are inoculated, the absolute majority can sort of start, enjoying, life as it was before the pandemic hit our shores. What's also interesting is that as of Monday, people over 85 will start receiving their vaccine dates. Very positive news. There are still some complaints about a bit of a slow rollout. I don't know what you think about it, Tim.
Yeah, I think he spoke very clearly yesterday. I think more clearly than he has for quite a while about the vaccine, because and he actually did say that our goal is not to eliminate COVID, but to mitigate the consequences. And he said, we know that it's the which vulnerable people are most prone to it, and that's why we're vaccinating them first. Once they're all vaccinated, hopefully, then things can start returning to a semblance of normality. Interestingly, just a small point, he also said that we might even be donating our excess stock of vaccines to some unnamed Caribbean countries. Just a small tidbit. Moving on to international news. Donald Trump has been indefinitely blocked from Facebook and Instagram, at least up until 20th January. This obviously comes after the scenes at the US Capitol that shocked everyone and which left 4 people dead. Now, Facebook so far and other social media companies have, steered away from taking strong action against political leaders or political figures, but particularly leaders, and basically because of for freedom of speech and political expression reasons. However, that all changed yesterday. Donald Trump can no longer post on Facebook, at least as President of the United States. I have mixed feelings about this. I mean, it impacts everybody who uses social media, for sure.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Donald Trump is a social media phenomenon. He really knows how to use the platform. But yesterday was the first real action that Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram have taken against Donald Trump. What's interesting is, as you said, they've always been reluctant to take action solely because he is the US president I wonder if that will all change on 20th January. We've seen some other people banned, like Alex Jones, for example. Trump himself has been quite inflammatory on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, so I wonder whether they'll take action. On Trump himself and what's going on in America, this morning he sort of confirmed that he is going to step aside on 20th January. To be honest, we'll see how that develops in the coming weeks. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never really trusted the man myself too much. On to our next story, Martin Testaferrata Moroniviani, the lawyer behind the controversial Marsa Scala drive-through cinema, sort of has rubbish concerns that it could damage the environment in the area. The project itself encircles Marsa Scala historic Marmot Tower, located at Triq Dahla ta' San Tomas. So far, it's already got 138 objections, including from the local council and with Zaytun, who sort of say, who sort of raised concerns about the impact this project could have on agricultural and geological heritage in the area. On Testaferrata Moroniviani's part, he sort of said, listen, this is, it's an inflatable structure, it's not a permanent structure, so the environmental concerns, really aren't there. And secondly, he praised the project. He said, during COVID-19, something like a drive-through cinema can really help out. I'm not too sure. I've learned maybe not to trust planning applications in my years in the media. I don't know about you, Tim.
Well, if there's any ulterior motive for this, I don't know. But on the face of it, I think it's a pretty good idea to have a drive-through cinema, something that other countries have. Malta doesn't. And I think it could prove very popular. So on the face of it, I actually like the idea. Moving on to our final story, popular DJ Jovin Grek has given his 2 cents to the after police superintendent Maurice Kurmi was found tested positive for cocaine. Now, Jovin Grek is calling out a state of unfairness, perhaps even a bit of hypocrisy, after pointing out that some DJs who were caught with small amounts of light drugs several years back are still facing the consequences of it up until this present moment. Well, that they apply to play for an event at a festival, but they're denied because of this minor infraction against them years ago, and said, hey, so the police are denying us this, and then one of their own highest officials was caught using cocaine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's a bit unfair.
No, I think it's very unfair. I mean, there are stories of, like you were saying, people caught with just a little bit of weed who weren't allowed to play at quite large concerts in Malta. The one very interesting tidbit Jovin said, which I liked a lot, he sort of questioned, if all the bars are closed, where exactly was the superintendent doing cocaine? It's like maybe a little bit of a question for our health authorities to answer. Let us know what you think in the comments below. That's all from us today, and remember, have a day full of lovin'.